What's your name?
My name's Brian Sloan.
And can you spell that for me, Brian?
Brian Sloon.
And you're here at the Occupy Tacoma camp. You guys, do you have an official position here at the camp, or how does that work?
We've issued, we've had a mission statement that was voted on at our GAs. That's actually been our kind of political cry, so to speak. I can't remember, I couldn't repeat it to you verbatim, but it basically covers some social reconstruction, as well as restructuring in our governments, on down the line to something as simple as perhaps an audit on our Federal Reserve with a few independent sources to make sure our money's being spent in the direction that the people actually intend to spend it.
Okay.
So that's a few of our core ideas and values there in a nutshell.
Okay. So you guys are here right next to the freeway, across the street from UW, and right on Pacific Avenue, the main drag. I mentioned this to you when we were talking earlier. I've driven by here a bunch of times, and I haven't noticed you guys here. Why this location?
This location initially because there was kind of a gray area as far as with a lot of our occupies, they've been occupying city parks, which has given the independent cities more leverage as far as dictating how they can set up structures and whatnot, what's met in codes as far as city parks and regulations and such. Where we kind of sidestepped that was picking a location, this one in specific, that was something that was more state-owned, i.e. this is the property of the DOT. So we fall under different guidelines as far as parks than, say, Tacoma Parks and Recs. They don't apply to this particular area because it is independently owned by the DOT. So that was the biggest advantage we could see in picking this location, was giving us some time to kind of amass, make our presence known, like you said, to the folks driving by our business community. Along with the fact that downtown Tacoma has been revamped to kind of encompass the small business community itself. So another ideal location because we're embracing those and encouraging folks to shop locally. So multiple facets for us to operate with in a positive way, choosing this location.
Okay. I saw something on the internet tonight that really struck me, and it's what drove me out here to talk to you tonight. The statement was, go occupy a job.
Right.
You've seen it on the internet before. What do you have to say to that? And what about the people that are here in this camp? Are they employed?
There's multiple answers there. I wish I could just say no. We are a solid core of employed individuals. Unfortunately, we're in such an economic crisis that our movement is found to encompass a lot of different facets of life. As far as people that we do have people that are homeless, we do have people in camp that are jobless or collecting unemployment. We do have full-time employed people. We do have people in camp that work as many as 5 jobs to maintain their kind of positions in life, so to speak. But it seems that that's been the number one tactic. It's an easy one to throw a label at as far as a group. You can just say we're just another tent city. We are just a bunch of homeless bums, pay them no attention, they don't need to be heard. I think is kind of the negative label our mainstream media has been throwing out at the general public. Our mission has been to be more proactive in that respect so that we can actually touch community bases, different ethnic groups, different places like Hilltop and different economic structures, University Place. People are feeling these pinches from all walks of life. So yeah, of course, we're trying to encompass all of those, and that's unfortunately going to include people that are jobless and are really the most disenfranchised of this whole situation. So
Now, you mentioned homeless before, and I know that that's been a big issue for a lot of the Occupy movements across the country. The cities, talking about the problems with the homeless people coming into the camps. Has that been a problem here for you?
It really hasn't been a problem. Again, Tacoma's been a little different in the respect from a lot of camps. From the very beginning, from the conception of this, we knew that we would have to have a code of respect. Certain guidelines that would have to be met in order for people to participate in this movement and be proactive themselves, as opposed to leeching off this as another stepping stone for, say, like a shelter or a day shelter or a meal site. We didn't want to meet those parameters. So we set up the code of respect to make sure that the people that are embracing this are people that are like-minded and see this as some kind of urgency, that we need to come together as a community and start fighting this on levels that they're going to have to start listening as far as our government, our legislature, and even our state levels. So homeless people, yes, we love them. They're the exact reason and the examples that we hold here of why our system has failed and why it doesn't work. And it's becoming more and more prevalent. And I think that's why they're shooting that at us, saying even if we were totally homeless camps, what difference does that make? That's just more examples of how disenfranchised our communities have become.
Right.
So to them, I kind of scoff and I say, bring them on, because we do have homeless people in camp, and they're some of the most productive members that we have on camp and on site. So, like I said, making it known that some productivity is kind of required, some steps in the general direction. So, and as long as we encourage that, and with our code of respect, we've sidestepped a lot of the issues, like Occupy Olympia, Occupy Seattle, Occupy Portland even, that they've dealt with: homeless, drug use, drug abuse, addictions, overdoses. These are things we have not had to deal with because, once again, we're proactive in that approach and how people come into our camp. So,
what about police presence here in Tacoma?
Wonderful. We love our police. Tacoma PD has been pretty instrumental in helping us along in a few key situations. We've had situations dealing with, once again, our disenfranchised, our folks that are, belong in places like Western State, getting some kind of mental help. They come into this camp, they have a mental breakdown. If it becomes violent, then we're able to call on TPD to come in here as a friendly force and help us with our movement in the way of securing the individuals that are causing that kind of ruckus and bringing them out of here quietly. There's no muss, no fuss. They don't harass anybody while they're in camp. We actually have the local bicycle cops stop by on a regular basis just to check in and make sure that we are okay. Seems to be genuine concerns for our health and safety. As long as we maintain the good stature that we have being on this corner, and having the fact that we've improved this site has made TPD even more responsive to our presence. Whereas before this park and we occupied, there was a lot of drug abuse, there was a lot of homeless population, people sleeping overnight, people being harassed in local businesses from the presence that was here before we came to occupy. So I think TPD is kind of congratulating us in that respect, and that we've kind of took a step in cleaning things up in the city, so to speak, in a forgotten area of the city, I guess. So TPD has been awesome.
As one of the unofficial leaders of the Tacoma Occupy movement, what do you have to say today to our Congress?
I'd say as a people we've had enough. We are the sleeping giant, and we have been sleeping too long and been complacent for too long, and allowing the Congress to become in the corrupt state that it's in now, and being leveraged heavily by corporations and influencing their policy. I think the main thing is that this is a universal issue. This is not just an American issue. This is Egyptian. This is South American. This is global. These are issues that our governments are going to have to stand up. We, the people, are great numbered. We are the sleeping giant. So our message is to Congress: we're coming. We're awake. We're not allowing you to take our freedoms and our liberties anymore. And we're going to start taking steps to ensure that those are given back into the favor of the people, and less in favor of large government and corporations and their influences.
Last question. What's next for Occupy Tacoma?
The next logical step, besides growth, would be setting up groups and setting up educating folks, drawing in from the community people that are well-versed in how our legislative system works. The next logical step is hitting our government where it hurts in the system that they've been using to levy against us for the last 100 years. That's the avenue, that's the next progressive step. California's already taken steps in their state levels to eliminate and abolish even the title of corporate personhood, and the influences and the downfalls and pitfalls that have stemmed just from that alone. So that, I think, the legislative process, the people's voice, and bringing it back to where we're actually dictating policy and not just accepting what's being shoved down our throats. So wake up, people. We're ready to make a move.
Thank you, Brian.